Well, hello everyone and happy Friday. It's digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Friday's version of Before the Four, the live stream where I talk about 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching Before the Four today, whether that's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, I say it every day. Thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Friday afternoon here. Let's of course begin with a look at the latest that we're seeing on the radar heading into tonight into the early morning hours. Severe weather is on the way, and make sure you're all staying safe and properly sheltering. That is, I cannot emphasize that enough. But 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis has everything you need to know. Brad?
We are bracing for impact. High impact severe weather event will unfold throughout the day tomorrow. There's still an outside chance of severe weather tonight, so make sure you've got your weather radio on. Right now, it looks like the main event, so to speak, is going to begin shortly after the noon hour, if not sooner in a few areas. We're looking at the model guidance showing us getting a little warmer than what we're forecasting, and we could see several rounds of supercell thunderstorms. Tonight after midnight through 5 a.m., we're watching mainly areas from Huntsville and Coleman to the west for any isolated thunderstorm that could become severe and could also produce tornadoes, and they could be long tracked. But tomorrow is more of a destructive day of weather. A significant impact. We're going to have widespread trees down, power outages, and it's going to be a mess the way it looks. Hopefully we get rain cooled somehow, but that's not looking like it's going to be the case. Here's overnight tonight, 1:30 to 2:30 in the morning. Not a lot going on, and the main reason is the atmosphere is capped. That means there's a lid. It's keeping thunderstorms from developing, but if that cap breaks, like we saw last May 8th, the cap broke, and everything just kind of went crazy, didn't it? We had numerous thunderstorms. I don't think it's going to be to that extent with the early morning round, but something you need to keep the weather radio on all night for. Then we brace ourselves for the main impact. Look, as we go past 11 o'clock in the morning, all that warm air surging north. Temperatures could reach 80 degrees, and that's a huge concern because that just creates a lot more fuel out there. And you start to see the severe thunderstorms, the supercells between noon and 1 o'clock from Russellville to Florence, and then more of them developing as we go through the afternoon. Eventually, in the northwest corner of the state, this becomes very heavy rain and flooding rain, still some high winds, where we start to see the severe weather and the higher impact supercell threat move a little bit east of there from Coleman through Decatur up to Athens and Fayetteville and all areas to the east of that. We finally see the rain coming to an end around 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. So stay weather alert. We'll keep you up to date as we go through the next 24 hours.
Well, thank you, Brad. That is very great to know. And in the case you might need to seek a storm shelter tonight, you can find a list of all the confirmed open shelters on our website right now. Just go to WAFF.com and we'll be updating that throughout the night. We'll be further tracking the storm tonight, both online and on air. So make sure you stay tuned for the latest and make sure you're staying safe out there without a doubt. But now a story in case you missed it out of Huntsville. A drive-by shooting at an apartment complex Wednesday night has left residents fearing for their children's safety. 48's Noah Cowell has more.
Around 8 o'clock last night, an apartment complex on Rhyme Village Drive was rocked with gunshots, leaving one teenager hurt. Residents who've seen dozens of children often playing outside of the apartment every day know that this could have been a lot worse. One woman says her daughter was outside last night when she saw a man in a dark sedan driving through the apartment complex parking lot with his head outside the window. As she went back inside, that's when she heard several gunshots. Jesse Odlin, who also lives there, says at least 6 shots were fired.
It could have gone way worse, you know, definitely, because there's a lot of kids that play out here.
Odlin says he let his 9-year-old son play with all the other kids outside all the time last year. But this year, he says he's heard at least 10 different instances of gunshots nearby. And after what happened last night, Odlin says playing outside just isn't safe anymore.
My kid was like, "Is that fireworks?" "No, son, that's not fireworks." That's why you don't go outside much anymore. I want my kid to have that socialism. I want him to be out in the sun. I want him to play like a normal kid. But I can't let him come out here with gunfire like it has been.
Odland says several other parents have had these same concerns since last year. Huntsville police say no arrests have been made and there are no current suspects. Reporting in Huntsville, Noah Cowell, 48 News, on your side.
Well, Alabama lawmakers are continuing to weigh in after more than 1,300 layoffs came Tuesday in the Federal Department of Education. Nick Ballinger spoke with some Alabama lawmakers on these layoffs. Take a listen.
More than 1,300 layoffs came Tuesday, essentially cutting the Federal Department of Education in half, making President Trump's promise to eliminate the department seem more likely. State Senator Arthur Orr agrees with cutting the department.
We all agree education's vitally important and we need to fund it. Money would come down for Washington, but we would administer the funds without all the federal strings that get attached.
According to our lawmakers, here's how the funding currently works. The states send the money to the government. The government then sends it over to the Department of Education, and the Department of Education sends it back to the states with requirements on how the state can spend it. But Republican lawmakers say if you eliminate the Department of Education, the states then send the money to the government then sends the money back, leaving it up to the states to decide what to do with that money. Democratic Representative Marilyn Land says Alabama can't afford to lose any education dollars in this process.
I hope and I pray it will remain the same or that we will be able to get additional funds and grow those funds. We need more money.
State Superintendent Dr. Eric Mackey says Alabama receives on average around $500 to $6 million from the Department of Education each year. The department secures funding for free and reduced lunches, Title I schools in low-income neighborhoods, and IDEA funding for students with disabilities. Orr says eliminating the Department of Education could lead to funding cuts in certain areas.
We need to, consider what we do with the federal funding.
He then went on to later say he believes most state lawmakers will protect certain programs.
Title I schools, free and reduced lunches, special ed needs, and I don't see us pulling the carpet from beneath any of those programs.
And now heading out to the Sand Mountain area, 48 Savannah Sap, with the latest efforts to extinguish the wildfire that broke out earlier this week at Little River Canyon in DeKalb County. Savannah Sap has the story.
Even though this fire is contained at this time, crews here worry that wind gusts might pick up embers and spread them outside of that containment zone, sparking new flames. That's why crews with the Forestry Commission are making soaking this mountainside a priority.
Making sure that this fire will stay where it's at during that wind event.
Ethan Barrett with the Alabama Forestry Commission says crews are working hard to wrangle a wildfire of over 240 acres at Little River Canyon. The fire began burning Tuesday but has since been contained. However, Barrett says there is a threat with upcoming winds and dry conditions.
But for the past 2 weeks, we've been in a pattern of what we call abnormally dry, where we're seeing RHs or relative humidities in the teens, which is not normal for this time of year.
Barrett was on scene with other Forestry Commission members as water was brought in from all angles. He says helicopters were attacking this fire from above.
The fire where it's at, and due to the inability to access it safely in areas, we are going above and beyond with the hand lines, the water mop up in the helicopter.
And Barrett says upcoming severe weather can be both a blessing and a curse in putting out this fire completely.
Hoping for good rain, a soaking rain to help lessen the fire activity, but with all the reports we're getting for this weekend's event is the wind associated with it that is concerning to us.
And Barrett adds that crews will be patrolling this area today and tomorrow ahead of this weekend's storms to ensure nothing reignites or the fire does not spread to other areas. Reporting in DeKalb County, I'm Savannah Sapp, 48 News, on your side.
In Madison, with the latest on the construction we all know and see along I-565. The overpass along that area of land is getting ready to open. 48's Faith Delp lets us know.
I spoke to Joey CC, the spokesman for Breland Construction, and he says this overpass should be open in just a few weeks. This construction was split up into 2 phases, and after several years, The overpass will hopefully be open in time for the Trash Panda's first pitch on April 4th. Cece says it's taken so long because of the complexity of the structure.
It's a very complex bridge to build. It's got a big curve in the middle of it, so it's just a little bit different and more complex than building some other bridge structures, and that's what's taken so long to build this phase.
Surrounding businesses are very excited about this new overpass, but the construction has been a pain for some, like Lux Brew. Lux Brew is located just on the other side of this overpass, and a worker there says she's thankful the construction is almost over.
I think it's just going to open an opportunity for people to actually get off the highway, get their coffee needs, their caffeine needs, because we need caffeine, right? Get their caffeine needs, get their food, and go back to their traveling. So we're just grateful that it's almost ended. And it'll be over soon before you know it.
I also spoke to other surrounding businesses, and they say that they're ready for this construction to be over and have the overpass open to bring in more business. Reporting in Madison, Faith Delp, 48 News, on your side.
It's certainly great to hear. All right, y'all, we're going to go to break for 1 minute. When we come back, we're going to talk about a brand new museum you can visit sometime in Huntsville. It opened earlier this month. So we're going to go to break. I'll be back in 1 minute. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Before the Four. And now maybe you're looking for something new, unique, and to learn and interact with a ton of cool new stuff. Well, a radio and communication technology museum opened here in Huntsville at the beginning of the month, and yesterday I got the chance to speak with two with that new radio museum. Take a listen.
So this museum is actually mostly comprised of a 40-year collection of Dr. Mark Bendixson, who was at once with Dynetics. He and his wife traveled the country, and for about 40 years, they would pick things up and collect them. We have everything from radios, TVs, telephones, computers, gaming systems. So this is actually a private collection of Dr. Mark Bendixson. And once he had gathered so many things, people kept telling him, you need to open a museum. You need to share this with the public. So that's how the museum got its footing and based here in Huntsville.
Well, very, very cool. I love to hear a bit of the history there. And Robin, is there anything you would like to add?
Well, I think that it's wonderful that Dr. B took the opportunity and the time to bring this information to Huntsville and to our community. It spans across the ages. I think everyone from about 7th grade up will walk into this building and find some kind of memory or associate a memory with someone that's in their family.
Right. Yes, and kind of piggybacking off of what Robin said there, there is so many things there. You have the old stuff like the rotary phones. I remember I used to play with my grandma's rotary phone at her house growing up and always had a blast just turning the dial over. It was so much fun. It was sad when she got rid of her landline, but you have rotary phones at the Signals Museum. Of course, you have Morse code. You can send a message to your buddy in Morse code, which is super cool. Super interactive museum. It opened at the beginning of March, and you can watch that full 48 Now interview with more details right now on our website. Just go to WAFF.com, but it is something you're going to want to check out without a doubt. You're just not going to want to miss it. Well, if you were watching the end of yesterday's Before the Four, you might remember that I left you all on a bit of a cliffhanger, and we had to cut our good side story a bit short. But today, we certainly have enough time to play the full thing, and today I am introducing you all again to Walter, the therapy dog. Take a look.
There's a bit of a rock star who comes to Mary Griswold School in Berlin. He gets a lot of waves and even fan mail.
I write letters to him every day, like 2 letters every day.
But he's not a teacher or a student.
I'm just gonna say, for everybody, I feel like he's probably everybody's favorite school dog, favorite dog in school.
Meet Walter, the therapy dog.
He's really cute and he's able to like calm me down, and he's really calm, and he doesn't really like get super hyper when students are around him because he's been trained that way, I think.
Walter came from Blue Path service dogs.
They primarily train service dogs for children who have autism, and then one of their alternate placements is for facility therapy dogs. So our Parents Club, which is kind of our version of the PTO, has been really amazing and supportive. They helped with all the financial side of it.
Principal Campbell says Walter comes to school every day, rotates through the classes, and is available to meet one-on-one with any child or staff member who needs a little of his love.
Kids come in and they kind of see him and they just wave to him and say, "Hi, Walter," and they get really, really excited. Some kids who didn't always enjoy coming to school for whatever reason have a reason to now come in and they'll be excited. Sometimes Walter goes out to the car to get them.
Have you ever had a bad day and you're like, oh, I don't really feel like going to school?
Yeah, I've had some pretty bad days, but like sometimes Walter will be here and I'll be able to go over to him and I'll just be able to pet him, and since he's just so like fluffy, I really like him.
Well, he's nice when you're having a tough day, and when you just pet him, he just relaxes you just by the feeling of him. He's so soft and...
Oh, are you getting a kiss?
Yeah.
So you love visiting with him?
Yeah.
Kara McCourt is a special education teacher here and also Walter's mom.
The school district was looking for somebody to take a Blue Path dog, to take Walter, and I volunteered. I have 2 children that go to school here too, and they had previously seen the therapy dog that came to school to visit once a week, and I thought, what better way to get a dog than a fully trained dog, and to be able to come to school every day with my 2 children and my dog.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So do you do special training with him at home?
We continue with the training that Blue Path has set for us, so we practice that at home and we practice it in school, and try to keep him to be the best boy that he is.
He seems pretty chill.
He is very chill, yes. He can get a little rambunctious at home and get the zoomies like any dog and play in the snow and those kind of things, but he is a very chill dog.
This is a command called squish, where Walter lays over a child.
Sometimes that sensory input, that pressure, helps to calm students. So that's a command that he does where he just lays over them to give them that sensory input that they might be needing at that moment. But we've seen a lot of kids that just feel less stressed when they see Walter, and they big smiles when they walk through the door. Sometimes I always don't get a good morning hello, but Walter gets one from the students each day.
Like, the world is crazy, right? I mean, there's so much stress in the world.
Yes.
But even just something as simple as taking a minute to be with him can make a difference.
Yes, I think dogs, animals, pets have a different effect than sometimes humans can have on children.
You just have to be careful saying the T word around Walter.
Does he get a lot of treats at home?
Some treats, yep. His treats are, oh, you heard me say the word.
He heard.
His treats are actually just his dog food. He gets some special treats, though, on occasion.
A well-deserved treat for a very good boy indeed, who is loved by so many, and it seems like the feeling is mutual.
It doesn't matter like who you are or what you did, like he just loves you about it, and it's just nice to be with him.
Oh, he loves you too.
How adorable. And I was like, we got to bring it back. I got to play the full thing for you all watching at home. But so sweet. And that's one of those stories I would describe as a story that you were just not going to want to miss. And speaking of which, let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. Team coverage on severe weather preparations and storm shelters across the Tennessee Valley. Make sure you stick around for that in our evening newscast coming up. The latest on the Crew 10 launch after it was scrapped a few nights ago. And the latest on the SEC basketball tournament. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And we have some time for it. Of course, it is time for Facebook fun. That's right, our 48 Facebook question of the day. Now, this was a question from Wednesday. We didn't get to Facebook fun yesterday. So we are continuing on Wednesday's 48 Facebook question of the day. You all just had such awesome comments. I couldn't just leave it at 6. I had to keep on pushing and keep shouting out some of my favorite comments from you all. But let's see what you all had to say. Art said healing, to have magic healing powers. That would be a extremely useful everyday life superpower, I think. Art, thank you so much for commenting. Awesome comment there. Let's see. Laura said invisibility. You know, that would be an awesome one. I still think the most useful, in my opinion, would be teleportation. Just so, like, anytime I needed to get anywhere at any second, I could get there. I don't have to drive or fly. But invisibility is up there too. I can get into basically any event or any sports match or any ball game or any concert that I want, and no one even knows I'm there. I never even have to pay. So that would be a very useful one too, Laura. Thank you so much. Ashen Blake said mind control. That could be a very useful one, I think. Absolutely. Thank you so much for commenting. Heath said being a super genius. 100%. I agree with that. Very, very useful comment there. Heath, awesome. And then Sean said time travel. Now that one would, I think it would be cool to kind of go back in time and see all kinds of stuff, but I don't know. I think it would be kind of spooky to be able to time travel, because I don't know, what if you get stuck in time and you can't come back to the present? I don't know. But Sean, thank you so much for commenting, and everyone who commented on the 48 Facebook question of the day. It always makes my day seeing what y'all have to say, and I greatly appreciate it. Well, that is just about it for today's Before the 4. Thank you all for sticking around and spending a bit of your Friday afternoon here. Again, make sure you're staying weather alert. Make sure if you need to seek shelter, you find the appropriate place to do so. And yes, keep an eye out on our website. We'll have all those storm shelter locations listed. And 48's Brad Travis will also be updating you throughout the night. So absolutely, cannot emphasize that enough. Make sure you're staying safe and weather alert. Now, I hope you all have a great weekend. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and you all have a great night.